This alien has arrived on Earth because his planet is drying up and he needs Earth's water. However, he has no idea how to complete this mission without the help of a human. An influential man named Faraday addresses a large audience who all seem very interested in what he has to say. He talks about how he's managed to get to this point in his life. He says that he is an immigrant and that he had to put on a new skin, be reborn, and learn how to be a human. As he speaks in these metaphors, a flashback reveals that these aren't metaphors at all, but the actual story of Faraday, the alien. He crash lands to the Earth in a meteor. At first, he looks like a reptilian creature, but slowly, as he climbs out of the crater, his body transforms into one of a human being. Faraday tells his audience that there are many conspiracy theories about him on the internet, and he goes by many names, ranging from Tech God to Willy Wonka. People claim that he hides many secrets. He admits that this is true. However, today, before revealing an invention that he has spent many years trying to create, which is going to be the next step in human evolution, he wants to tell them all the story of his origin. The story begins with Faraday first arriving on Earth and walking around completely naked. He finds a hose with water coming out of it, and he feels so thirsty that he starts gulping down the water like an animal. The owner of the property calls the police, and they arrive and find Faraday with the hose all the way down his throat to pump the water directly into his stomach. They remove the hose from his throat and try to talk to him, but he just repeats what they say, because he is still getting the hang of the human language. The police assume this to be mockery and non-compliance, so they tase him and knock him out. The last thing he sees is his reflection in a mirror, which seems to shock him. Next, Faraday wakes up in a police station, and he has a very hard time adjusting to the human sensory experience. His senses seem to be far more heightened compared to the average human, and it seems he can sense radio waves and electrical activity as well. The police officer taking his statement pulls out some water, and Farada desperately asks for it. He proceeds to drink the entire bottle in one gulp. The officer asks Faraday why he's here, and he talks about a mission that he only has 9 hours to complete. She asks him where he is from, and he says he is from Anthea. She asks him where that is, and he points to the sky. The officer thinks that Faraday is crazy and entertains his story sarcastically. She hears her colleague cursing and sarcastically tells Faraday that on Earth, if you say the F word really loud and ask for something, you get it. Faraday doesn't understand sarcasm and thinks that this is instruction. He loudly says the F word and asks for water, shocking the whole police station. The officer asks him if he has anyone who can take care of him, and Faraday says the name Justin Falls. Justin Falls is revealed to be a brilliant scientist, the daughter of an equally brilliant man who for some unknown reason was dropped from a prestigious research project on nuclear fusion, and now works in factories disposing of hazardous waste. She does this to support her daughter and her father who is ill. They don't have health insurance, so she has to buy her father's medicine from a drug dealer. In the present, Faraday tells the audience that they were all his teachers, but Justin was the one who forced him to find his humanity. Justin tries to ask her boss for extra shifts because she needs the money for her father's pills, and her boss suggests that if she needs the money, she can pull extra shifts on top of him. Enraged, Justin kicks him in his extra shifts and storms out. She is driving angry when she receives a call from the police station. Justin arrives at the station and tells the officer that she has never seen Faraday in her life. But Faraday catches her attention by citing her research paper on fusion and by citing her dismissal report from the United States Energy Department. Justin is a little shocked at how he knows all this, but she simply assumes that he is a stalker. Before she can leave, Faraday does an impression of a man telling him that Justin Falls is the person who's gotten closest to successful fusion. She was just missing an element that she wasn't aware of. He says that Justin Falls is crucial to his mission, adding that his mission and her mission are the same. Justin leaves. The officer decides to let Faraday go, and Faraday steals a phone before stepping out of the station. He uses the phone to find a pawn shop, and he throws up hundreds of gold rings outside the shop. He gives them to the shopkeeper to get money in return. While she weighs the gold, Faraday experiences listening to music for the first time, and it delights him. However, just then, the shopkeeper lights a cigarette. which he thoroughly dislikes. He uses the equipment at the shop to build a radio transmitter and receiver. The woman says that she will give him $10,000 for the gold, but Faraday says that he was told the rate would be $25,000. She tries to argue, but Faraday yells the F word really loud and asks for his money, which works. Next, Faraday is walking on the side of the road, listening through his radio device, but unbeknownst to him, money is flying out of his pocket and attracting attention. Faraday remembers his home planet and how they tried to make it rain there using machines, but they failed. Just then, two guys stop next to Faraday and start beating him up for his money. Justin drives by and sees this and decides to help Faraday. She pulls a gun on the two men, but the situation gets out of her control. Eventually, Faraday grabs the gun, and even though he doesn't know how to use it, the two guys run away in fear. Faraday tells Justin some coordinates and says that he has to get there to intercept a very important message in 6 hours. He asks her to take him. She is hesitant, and Faraday yells the F word to get his way, but that does not work with Justin. So Faraday learns to say please. Justin says that the coordinates he is mentioning are 200 miles away, which is too far, but Faraday offers her money for her service, and she agrees. On the way, Faraday tries to discuss with Justin why she gave up her scientific endeavors, but she is strongly reluctant to discuss this subject. Next, the two stop at a bar to meet with Justin's drug dealer and get her father's pills. Faraday behaves in his weird alien ways, and Justin tells the waitress that he is just autistic. Faraday demonstrates exceptional mathematical knowledge on a piece of tissue, and Justin gets curious about where he learned all this. Faraday reveals that where he comes from, there are two chambers of scholars, adepts and drones. The adepts design, and the drones execute their designs. He learned all this math and science from his adept. Justin asks who his adept is, and Faraday reveals that in this world, he is known as Thomas Newton. A quick Google search reveals that Thomas Newton was the owner of a company called World Enterprises. Faraday says that Thomas Newton is the one who told him to find Justin. Justin doesn't understand why, and Faraday reveals that it's because Justin's work is vital to his mission. She was onto something, she just wasn't working with the right tools. Justin once again avoids this conversation. Faraday says that Justin isn't fulfilling her purpose in life. She letting her purpose go to waste. In the car, Justin asks Faraday how he ended up here, and Faraday says that the adepts miscalculated the energy needed to save his home, and now they are desperate for a solution. He reveals that he has a family back home trying to survive. Justin asks what they are trying to survive, and Faraday eerily mentions that when the clouds will disappear, so will humanity. He adds that they have very little time. Finally, they arrive at the coordinates, and Justin is confused because it's just a random spot. Faraday finally reveals to Justin that he is from planet Anthea, and that he is here on a mission to save his people. He says that at this spot, he is going to receive further instructions on his mission, and Justin is supposed to come with him. Justin panics and says that she isn't going anywhere with him. She is about to leave when Faraday tries to force her to stay, but she pulls a gun on him and departs. As Justin is driving away, she sees a hurricane forming and decides to go back to rescue Faraday. However, Faraday appears to be walking right into the eye of the hurricane. He reaches the exact center, closes his eyes, and gets transported to another plane. He opens his real alien eyes in another plane and meets Thomas Newton. Newton says he knows Faraday is shocked because Newton doesn't appear Anthean at all anymore. He assures Faraday that soon he will cease to be an Anthean as well. Newton says that he is going to turn Faraday into a god that humans will not be able to ignore. Newton does not appear to be a very noble or righteous man. He seems sociopathic. Faraday points out that the people on Anthea waited years for him to come back with water, long enough to watch the oceans on Anthea boil, but he never returned, and Newton casually replies that he got distracted. Faraday tells Newton that he has been labeled a deserter back on Anthea, and Faraday defended him. Newton replies that this is why he called for Faraday, because he is the most devoted and obedient drone. Newton asks how many people are left alive on Anthea, and Faraday replies only a few thousand. Newton pretends to cry, but then he laughs. He tells Faraday that he has a plan to save Anthea, but it will involve mingling with the humans. He adds that he has been setting up this plan for Faraday for many years. He explains that he built a company that the humans stole from him, and now Faraday is going to steal it back. The key to Anthea's future is in the company. Faraday comes out of the storm and meets Justin, but his human skin is peeled off and his reptilian skin is showing, which freaks Justin out, and she drives away. Faraday returns to the bar from before, and the waitress recognizes him as the guy with autism. He asks the waitress to help him Google a company named Origin. She tells him that it's a tech company based in Seattle, Washington. Faraday asks how he can get there, and she tells him that she will get him a taxi to the airport. Then Faraday proceeds to freak the waitress out by telling her that he can smell her hormones and that she is pregnant. He gets slapped for it. Classic Faraday. Meanwhile, a CIA agent is told that a strange radio phenomenon was recorded in a tornado, and it's not the first time it has happened. The same frequency was previously recorded in a tornado at the exact same spot 45 years ago. What's more curious is that the signal was bidirectional both times, suggesting two-way communication. The agent is assigned to investigate it. Faraday arrives at the airport, but the radiation from the X-ray scanners there does not seem to agree with his body, and he ends up getting sick and throwing up enough water to fill a small pool. Justin drops her father off at a rehab center for his condition and discusses with her colleague that she saw something crazy yesterday, and she needs to know if it was even real or not. She gets a call from the airport about Faraday because he has listed her as his emergency contact, and she goes to get him. The airport security tells her that Faraday drinks water like a camel, to which Faraday replies that he has 4 stomachs. Justin demands to know if what she saw yesterday was real, and Faraday confirms it. He tells her that the design for a machine that can save Anthea is at Origin in Seattle, and he needs her help in building that machine, because it is in her area of expertise. Justin says that she can't do that. Her life does not allow her to abandon everything and go with him. The maximum she can do is put him on a bus to Seattle. Justin and Faraday pick up Justin's father, Josiah, and her daughter, and on the way home, Justin's family and Faraday bond over their mutual love for music. Josiah and Faraday also bond over the fact that they both agree Justin is wasting her potential. Meanwhile, the CIA agent arrives at the house of the only member of the team that detected the tornado signal 45 years ago, who is still alive. The team member is now a paranoid old man who is full of regret. He captures and ties up the agent and rambles on and on about how he followed orders and tortured Newton. He mumbles that Newton was a sweet being, like an angel, and the experiments performed on him are what eventually turned him into a psychopath. He decides to kill the CIA agent, because if another alien has arrived, he will not allow another grunt following orders to commit the sins he did. Over dinner, Faraday explicitly states that Josiah is the reason Justin is not realizing her full potential. Josiah's responsibility is holding her back. He adds that if Josiah just died, Justin would be free to pursue her purpose. Justin is outraged at this, but her father actually agrees with Faraday. Justin says that she will not go with Faraday to Seattle no matter what he says. Faraday secretly enters Josiah's room and grabs his hand. Electrical distortions start going off all around. Justin runs into the house, worried that Faraday is doing the unthinkable, but she comes inside to find that he has actually performed a procedure that has transferred Josiah's disease to Faraday, leaving him healthy and with no need for Justin's help. Curled up on the floor, Faraday asks if they can go to Seattle now. The Man Who Fell to Earth is a 2022 TV series based on a 1963 novel of the same name. It is a continuation of the 1976 movie starring David Bowie, also titled The Same. The show received mostly favorable reviews, especially due to the amazing performance of the lead actor in the role of a newcomer to Earth and humanity's ways. However, it was canceled due to unrelated studio decisions. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Also, let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.